Now let's discuss about data lineage and dependency. Data lineage is helpful in tracking the flow of data journey from its source to its destination, detailing transformation, dependencies, and usage. It helps with debugging data issues, example, identifying missing or incorrect records. It helps in understanding dependencies between tables, views, or queries, and it also helps in auditing and compliance tracking. Let's discuss about importance of lineage in Snowflake. First is data governance. It ensures that data is quite accurate, being consistent and following compliant with regulations. Second is impact analysis. It helps in understanding how changes in any single part of data pipeline affecting all the downstream processes and reportings. Third is debugging and troubleshooting. It supports quickly identifying the source of data issues anytime by tracing back through the lineage. And fourth is documentation. It provides a clear, comprehensive view of data flows for businesses, stakeholders, and auditors. The get lineage function enables user to retrieve data lineage information for specific tables and columns. The basic syntax for get lineage function is snowflake.core.getLineage. Then we mention the object name, object domain, direction. Then we have two optional parameters that are distance and object versions. If we discuss more about the arguments, the required arguments are object name. Object name is the name of the object for which data lineage information is retrieved. Second is object domain. This is the domain of the object, and the supported domains are column, table, which includes all the table-like objects, including views and dynamic tables. Then it also includes semantic views for semantic viewing and stages. And for ML lineage, we can use tables for feature views, which are dynamic tables and views internally. Then also we can use data sets or modules for models. Third one required parameter is direction. The direction for which the lineage should be retained. Supported directions are either upstream or downstream. And then we have two optional parameters which are distance, the number of levels of lineage to retrieve. The maximum is 5, which is also the default distance. And then we have object version for versioned objects such as data sets and models. The version of the object for which lineage is retrieved. If not specified, the default version is used. Let's now discuss about object dependencies. Snowflake tracks how database objects are interrelated to each other using object dependency view in the Snowflake.account uses schema. This is essential for impact analysis, compliance, and maintaining data integrity. An object dependency exists when one object relies on the another object to function correctly. For example, a view created on top of table depends on the table's metadata. If we talk about dependency type, the first one is by name. You can refer any object using the name like select star from table. Next up is by ID. The dependency is stored using an internal object ID, for example, creating a stage using storage integration. And next up is by name and ID. It is used in objects like materialized views that reference by both name as well as ID. If we talk about use cases, it is very useful in trace downstream objects before altering or dropping any kind of base objects, and it identifies the sensitive data lineage for GDPR or HIPAA compliance to ensure sensitive data is properly managed across its life cycle. It also understands the dependencies across consumers and the provider's account, but on a very limited visibility. It also automatically apply object tags from the referenced object to the referencing objects like views. If we talk about limitations, it does not track any session variable based logic. And second is it omits some function based calls. And third is there is no tracking for any kind of external or replicated dependencies. Let's see this in action. I will go to my Snowflake. First thing, we will create a database and schema. Then we will use the database and schema. And then I had created a sales table. And on top of sales table, I had created a sales view as well. Okay. This is my level 1 dependency. Okay. Then using the same view, I had created a second sales view. Okay. This is my level 2 dependency. Okay. And then also I had created a materialized view on top of my this sales view. This is again my level 1 dependency. So if I comment it down here, this is my level 1 dependency. This is my level 2 dependency. And this is my level 1 dependency again. Okay. Once I run these all, I will use the snowflakes.core.getLineage function, and I will pass my table name and the upstream or downstream dependency. Before running this query, let's run all the above queries. I will select all of them and I will click on Control plus Enter. and it started executing all my 8 scripts. And perfect. Now I will run this get lineage function, and I can see there are 3 records in the output. First is view and the other two are tables. And if you see here, it is even displaying my distance. So for my sales view and materialized view, which is sales summary, the distance should be 1. Okay, so if we just verify here, you can see sales view and sales summary, which is my view and materialized view, their distance is 1. But I had created a second sales view on top of sales view. That's why its distance is showing 2. Okay. This is how we get the lineage from the Snowflake. Next is object dependency. In order to get the object dependency, we have a table inside our account uses schema, and we can mention the referenced object name. And if we run this one, we should also be able to see the object dependencies. And see, guys, I am able to see the object dependencies with my referenced object ID and the table on which it is dependent, and referencing object names, and what is the dependency type, by name, by ID, or by name or ID. So in this case, dependency type is by name. That's how we can see the object dependencies and lineage dependencies. This is pretty much about object dependencies and lineage dependency, guys. Let's now discuss about object tagging. Snowflake object tagging is a data governance feature that allows you to categorize and track database objects such as tables, views, and columns, as well as account level objects like warehouses and users. Object tagging is a process for a database object to define a tag and can be used to identify the object and to implement the data protection and data classification, usage, and compliance. What's the tag? A tag is a schema level object that can define and assign to single or multiple different types of objects like tables, columns, views, etc. The maximum number of tags in an account can be 10,000. You can even assign multiple tags to any object. Please do remember the minimum addition required for tags is enterprise edition. In case of single object, you can set a maximum of 50 tags including the tables and views. And you can see the tags associated with the objects using account usage.tag reference and information schema.tag reference. Let's see that in action. I will go back to my Snowflake. First, I will say use role account admin. Okay, and then I will create a new database. I will say create or replace a database, and I will name this as, let's say, governance. And then I will create a new schema as well. We'll say create or replace schema, and I will name this as governance dot tags. Cool. And then I will grant the usage. I will say grant usage on my database, which is governance. And then I also need to grant usage on database governance to role, let's say DA analyst role. And then I will again do the same thing for schema. I will say grant usage on schema, and I will mention my schema name as governance dot tags. And now I will run these scripts. Perfect. I had ran all the 5 scripts. It's the very time to create a tag. I will say create or replace tag, and I will put the tags inside my newly created schema. I will say I will copy paste, and then I will say, let's say PI data as the table name, and then I will say a load values. Okay, whenever you create tags, we need to mention the load values. Let's say I mention high, then medium, then low. Okay, and I will also mention a comment. This is my tag. Okay, and perfect. I will run this one. And perfect. I had created my tag now. It's the very time to alter my table and set this tag. I will alter table from my analyst DB. And I had already created one table earlier, which was employees table. So I will mention this tag there. I will say set the tag and I will copy paste my tag name, governance to, let's say, hi. Okay. And I will run this one. I had added a tag. I will add one more tag. This tag I had applied on the table level. Now I will apply one more tag to the column level. Okay. So I will again copy paste this one and I will say modify column, and I want to apply this tag on my employee name column, and I will set this as, let's say, medium. Okay. And I will run this query. Perfect. I had added both the tags. It's the very time that I should go to my information schema dot tag dot references table to see this tags. So I had written the script which is select star from table information schema dot tag references, and I had mentioned my table name and it is table, so I had mentioned table. So if I run this select query, I should be able to see the tags. So see guys here. So I am able to see the tag schema, the tag value, and the table on which I had applied the tags, and applying method is manual. This is pretty much about tags, guys. Next topic is compliance and features of different Snowflake editions. Preparing for Snowflake Advanced Architect exam requires a deep dive into how Snowflake handles data sovereignty, security standards, and auditing. Unlike the core exam, the Advanced Architect exam focuses on designing solutions that meet specific regulatory requirements like GDPR, HIPAA, or SOC2. I had divided the compliance and features into compliance and the minimum addition required for each kind of compliance. The first one is SOC 1 and 2 or ISO 27001. SOC 1 and 2, which is also known as System and Organization Controls, and ISO 27001 are frameworks that verify an organization's ability to protect data and manage risk. SOC 1 focuses on internal controls over financial reportings, while SO2 access operational controls for data security, availability, and privacy. And SOC2 is also called Trust Service Criteria. ISO 27001 is an international certification for maintaining an information security management system. Okay, the minimum edition required to have this certificate inside your Snowflake edition is standard edition. Next one is HIPAA support, a very popular one. HIPAA support refers to the tools, services, and processes implemented by healthcare organizations and their vendors to protect sensitive patient information and comply with the HIPAA security and privacy rules. It covers technical safeguards, administrative procedures, and physical security measures ensuring confidentiality, integrity, and availability of data. The minimum Snowflake edition required is business critical, and it also requires the business associate agreement to be signed with Snowflake. Third is PCI DSS. PCI DSS stands for Payment Card Industry Data Security Standard. It is a set of mandatory security requirements designed to ensure all companies that store, process, and transmit credit card information maintain a secure environment. The minimum addition required again is business critical. Next one is FedRAMP Moderate. FedRAMP is a federal risk and authorization management program. It is a US government-wide program that provides a standardized approach to security assessment, authorization, and continuous monitoring for cloud products and services. So the minimum addition required is business critical, and it is for the specific government regions. For FedRAMP, high minimum addition requires is VPS. Next up is CSA Star Level 1. This is a self-assessment. It is a free entry-level volunteer program for cloud service providers to document their security posture based on Cloud Security Alliance and the Census Assessments Initiative questionnaires. Okay, the minimum addition requires is obviously standard. The next one is HITRUS CSF. It's a common security framework which is a comprehensive risk-based security and privacy framework designed to help organizations manage data protection and regulatory compliance, particularly with sensitive data like protected health informations. And the minimum addition required is business critical. And the last one is personal identifiable information or personal health information. Snowflake provides a robust security framework for managing personally identifiable information and personal health information to meet compliance requirements such as GDPR, CCPA, and HIPAA. It handles sensitive data through a defense in-depth approach, combining automated data classification, encryption, dynamic data masking, and role-based access control. The minimum addition required is business critical for this as well. That's it, guys. That's pretty much about compliance and features of different Snowflake additions. Thank you so much for watching. Have a nice day.